You're listening to Convenience Matters, brought to you by NACS. Whether it's for food, fuel, drinks, or snacks, about half the U.S. population shops at a convenience store every day. We'll talk about what we see at stores and what the future may hold for our industry.
Welcome to Convenience Matters. My name is Jeff Lenard with NACS.
And I'm Carolyn Schnare, also with NACS.
So, I don't know if you can hear that sound. What do you think that is, Carolyn?
I don't know. It sounds like someone's drilling something.
No, that's not drilling. That's really the heart of branding. And that's what we're going to talk about today, how that is your brand. So joining us today is Anthony Perrine. He's with Lou Perrine's Gas and Grocery out in Kenosha, Wisconsin. And first off, welcome.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. I'm super excited about this podcast. I love it. I listen to it every month. So.
Awesome.
So that sound was not a dentist drill. That sound is, well, our approximation of a tattoo drill. And we thought that was an interesting way to maybe start the conversation because you had an interesting promotion this past year that really exemplifies everything that your business does. You allowed people to, or I'll give the short version. I'd like you to give the long version if really the why and what it means. But basically, people could get your company's tattoo for free.
That is really living the brand.
And you had a bunch of people do that. So it's not just about the tattoo, but it's about why people committed a part of their skin to your brand.
Yeah, so it was a crazy fun publicity stunt. We did it in honor of our 64th birthday in October, so we celebrated 64 years here. And I wanted to do something bigger and something a little crazy outside of just, we can sell soda for 64 cents, or we can do, whatever, the plain Jane boring stuff everybody else does. And so I had this idea. I had come across an article about brand loyalty, and I thought, well, what the heck? I'm going to see if people would get tattoos of our logo, whether it's our Lou Perrine logo or the I Love Ho-Ho cake, which is a cake we make in-house here. One of the two logos, I would pay for it, and in return, they would also get if they got the I Heart Ho-Ho cake tattoo, they got a free piece of cake for a year every day. And if they got our Perrine logo, they got double points every time they came in on our loyalty program. So I tried to tie it into a product that we carry and stuff. And so I worked a deal with a girl that I am friends with that has a tattoo shop right downtown, and did a Facebook Live video. I was super nervous. I was like, there's no way in hell anybody's going to get this, and I'm going to look foolish. But I got the tattoo on a Friday night, went Facebook Live. I got my Grandpa Lou logo on my shoulder and just kind of told people what we were doing. And I figured, well, you know what? Even if nobody shows up, if you don't believe in your brand, no one else is going to. So worst case scenario, it's my business. It's on my body, whatever. Next thing I know, we told people the first 15 people that line up outside the tattoo shop on Monday at 11 a.m. will pay for the tattoo, and they get, all the perks. I get a phone call at 5:30 in the morning on Monday that there are already like 25 people waiting in line, and that people kept coming and coming and coming. And by the time 11 o'clock hit, we had 100-some people there waiting to get tattoos. And so I had to turn some of them away because I wasn't going to pay for all 100. I told them, you pay for it, I'll give you the deal. That's not a problem. And it turned into a very fun event. People got it tattooed. It was kind of an even split. They got the logo tattoo and the Ho-Ho cake tattoo, and we've had people put them on their arms, their shins, their forearms, and one guy even put it on his butt. So of course you got to get that in there. And so it was a good way to celebrate 64 years of being in business, I guess.
Well, I don't know if you want to take a picture of that after he's eaten a year worth of Ho-Ho cakes, but
yeah, I told him this might look a lot bigger after he did get the I Love Ho-Ho cake on there. I said this might be a billboard by the time you're done.
So this wasn't about people getting free ink. This was about something bigger. What do you think it was?
Well, from when the local newspaper interviewed people, a lot of them said, you know what, this is my gas station, and I come here every day, and they love. We're Kenosha, like there's certain cities where certain things resonate with it, and for Kenosha, Perrine's is it. It's like we've become a staple in the community, and so I think people were just kind of doing it not only to get some free ink, but to say, hey, you know what, I this is where I shop, and I like this company, I like my city, I like my community, and I think it was kind of a mixture of all that, which makes me happy because that's what we try to push here. We're not some big chain. We are local. We are hyper local, and we use the hashtag I love my gas station all the time, and then people really do. And so it's just I never would have envisioned we'd have 100 people. Let me tell you, I thought I was going to be the only one with a tattoo, but
didn't Adam Levine have one at the Super Bowl too? Did he have one of yours?
Yeah, I was going to do a Photoshop and put one on there, but
it's not too late.
Yeah, that's right.
So
yeah, if I could get a celebrity, maybe get Post Malone to put, I love ho-ho cake on his face.
Yeah, on his face, yeah.
Nice hit. Yeah.
I dare you. You do that, we'll get you both on here next time.
Yeah, I'll start tweeting at him now. That's how it all starts. It just takes a tweet or two.
There you go. Well, so you've been around for 64 years, you said, right? You just celebrated your 64, so you're going on to your 65th, I guess.
Yep, this October. We're going to be launching our second location. We're going to be opening the doors in October. So it'll be 65 years, and then we'll have a big grand opening at our new store. And so we're looking forward to it.
That's amazing. That's congratulations. So
thanks. Yeah.
Tell us how you got started.
So basically, it all started with my grandpa back in the day. It was one of those old school. It was a Clark. It was Lou Perrine's Clark. He was branded Clark, and they washed your windows. They wore the white monkey suit, the whole 9 yards. And he had just always wanted to own his own business. He was actually working at a local mattress factory at the time, and saved up enough to open this little. Like they were using cigar boxes with money, the whole 9 yards, like you see in the old days. And so my dad grew up in the business, and he actually met my mom. They both were working here in like 7th or 8th grade, and they were pumping gas together for my grandpa, and been together ever since. And so my dad took it over when my grandpa died in 1985. I never met my grandpa. He died the year I was born. So my dad built the current site that we have right now. It got finalized, I think, in like 1990. And he had a few stores back in the day. He had 3 stores in the area. And then I came into the business at about 2012. I started working in 4th grade, and ever since, like, you just grew up in the family business. If it wasn't football season, you were working somewhere at the store. So that was kind of the routine. But I officially took over in about 2012. And here we are today,
and
giving out tattoos and cake.
When was the first time that you threw out one of those, let's just call them non-traditional ideas, and what was the reaction?
When I started getting a little crazy, or I wouldn't say crazy, it was when I started marketing things a little bit differently. It was probably about 4 years ago, and it started with just using Facebook in a way that was a little more fun, edgy, crazy, and it slowly started I slowly started figuring out how I wanted to make it work and what I wanted it to look like, how I wanted us to be perceived in the community and really brand ourselves. And it did not go over well with my parents, let me tell you. It was a little, they're old school, and, so some of the controversial stuff I'll do or post or say, or the memes I make, they don't get half of them, but B, they get a little nervous, especially when I hit that Facebook Live button, because it's live, and you just don't know what's going to come out of my mouth. But the cool thing is we've seen great results from it, and it's really helped build the character of the company, the brand, and in a much different way than how most organizations or most companies, are trying to have themselves perceived as, I guess.
Yeah, and I like the way you use social media as marketing, and social media is essentially free marketing. And in a small town, you can't just, aren't TV stations and things like that where you can market, because you're marketing to a much broader area. I want to talk about two areas with your social marketing and your branding. One is, I'm pretty sure it was you. You were the local baseball team did pretty well, had a nice playoff run, and didn't you have a promotion where you tied their success to gas prices?
Yeah, so we would do some, and we've done that before, where it's like, okay, if whatever they win by, we'll lower the price for one day, or we'll raise the price for one day, and whether it's the Cubs or it's predominantly up here the Brewers, but if there's any local team, whether it's professional or even like when some of the high school teams are doing real well, we'll try to tie in with them however we can, just to it builds conversation amongst people on social media. It gets people to share it. Anything that you can get to share is just instant, free eyes looking at your product, basically. And so, we've done everything from partnering with that to, the weather and saying how cold it's going to be. Anything and everything we can get our hands on that is a hot topic button for people. The time frame of executing things on social media is very quick, because the topics of conversation change drastically depending on news or what's going on in the world or locally. And so if you can find something that's got a little buzz and tie into it, I've always found that that's brought great success, and it makes you relevant.
Yeah,
a lot of brands out there, especially large brands, that they're too safe, because they got a lot to lose. Well, we're a little guy fighting big guys. I got nothing to lose, so I'm going to roll with whatever I can, and I'll use the ability for me to not have to run a marketing campaign through a chain of people. Well, My name's on the business, so if I like it, I'll do it.
Yeah, and I like your thinking about that, because if you think about the two biggest sections of a newspaper, it's sports and weather. If you think about the two biggest segments
What's
with
a
the
newspaper,
local,
Jeff?
It's plant-based. It's another discussion. But,
okay.
If the TV or whatever, it's sports and weather, and taking. Celebrating the local community via the sports team, I think is really smart, because it's a way to get people already in a good mood and associate that with something that you think will put them in an even better mood.
Well,
discount on gas prices, etc.
Well, and I like that you involve like this high school sports team, because it's everybody. Well, in the town like that size, it's like, oh, that's my kid, or that's my neighbor, or that's my dog walker, or that's I don't know, my brother. That's me. It makes it even more personal and makes that conversation even stronger between the community and you.
And the second thing is, before I forget about the weather, saw a post from someone. You had a polar vortex where the temperature was, I don't know, below zero. And here I see this guy promoting his store, lawn chair, shorts, tank top, something like that. Do you want to take us through that?
Yeah, so we had about a 4-day stint here in Wisconsin that it got below 50 degrees. Below minus. It got to minus 50 degrees. So it was extremely dangerously cold. Everybody was talking about it, preparing for it, whatever. So the day before it was supposed to hit, I just had this idea that, it'll grab some eyes if I'm out there freezing my ass off in the cold while I got my bathing suit on, some sandals, and tank top. I think that'll grab some eyes. And we used it to promote our delivery service, because we knew nobody was going to be out and about in that cold, because it was dangerously cold. And so I literally ran outside and tried to pull this Facebook Live video off in about a minute and a half, because they says by 3 minutes you could get frostbite. So I knew I couldn't screw it up, and I just ran out there. And if you watch the video, my legs are moving back and forth. My jaws are like shaking, because it was cold. But I will say, it worked. It went viral, and we had, I think, it got to the point where I was in a car making deliveries for 8.5 hours that day, because we couldn't keep up. We got like 85 delivery calls, all based off of the video off of Facebook. So, a lot of times people say social media, it's hard to gauge what, you might get eyes and you might get likes and views, but is it producing results? And I try to always have call to action in there. So for that, it was, hey, we're going to offer free delivery today. Go out, and we're pushing them to our website. So use way too cold when you check out on our delivery website, and you'll get free delivery today. So, and so we're able to gauge. There was some traction there, because we're going from making 15 deliveries a day to 85, and it's, that was kind of the deciding factor is they were using that coupon code from the video. So
now, did it keep going? Like, did people keep afterwards?
Yeah, and that's what's cool is like we've picked up, I would say, about 10 consistent people from that video that had never ordered from us before, that are once or twice a week, sometimes even more. They just get some smokes and kind of usual stuff every time, but it worked.
Yeah, and measure it. It's not just throw it out in the ether, but figure out, is it working, and do that hashtag. And I would assume that the video was one take. I assume that it wasn't like, we need to do about 6 more of these. We're Scorsese and we need to do 70 takes.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When it's Facebook Live, like it's not, it's just not like they're commercials. I mean, I go live and so it is a little nerve-wracking because if you screw up, you look like a fool. But I tend to try to prepare ahead of time. It's not like willy-nilly. I know kind of what I'm going to say. My thing is I always wear our staple, our blue sunglasses, and usually the blue Perrine hoodie, or the blue shirt. So there's consistency. I'll go around town, people say, hey, where are your sunglasses? They'll just randomly come up to me, you're the Luperini guy. And so, just trying to resonate those certain things with us, with the brand, with the face. McDonald's had their clown. Well, I guess I'm our clown.
Could you see the tattoo in the video? I wasn't looking for that.
You can't see it because it's far away, but yeah, the sleeves are rolled up. It's on my shoulder.
Oh, okay.
So one of the things is talking about how you do branding and how you do marketing. We were talking to a retailer a while back who is a CEO. His company has hundreds of stores, very well known, very prominent. And I said, isn't it awesome to have this many stores? And he's, there are days I really wish I had one store, and not just back to the olden days and you may say that when you have 2 stores, but the whole idea is that when you have hundreds of stores, it takes a while to kind of execute and get it through and do the branding. But when you're a one-store operator, you can take a lot more chances. Now, you also your ability to fail or your resources to fail are a lot less. But there are some positives. Or many positives associated with being a one-store operator and how you can execute something. So is that something you agree with, and do you celebrate that, and how do you execute things?
Yeah, and it's, a lot of the times, especially when you're small, it's always like, man, they got, for us, the 5,000-pound gorilla in the room is Quick Trip here in Wisconsin. And it's like, well, how do you compete with them and that? And it was, trying to find the niche that we have. What is our niche, and how do we play into our niche and differentiate ourselves from, the big boys? And so one of the things was, okay, we're smaller. I can take more chances. I can do I can market because I love marketing by trade. So I can operate in my skill set and do something a little bit more outside the box than everybody else. And I actually have to credit NACS because, you guys had suggested reading Blue Ocean Shift, one of the magazines, or it was in one of the emails, and it was a book about marketing and sticking out in a very highly competitive market. And so I read that book, and it really changed the whole way I approached marketing and playing into our strengths instead of complaining about our weaknesses. So I took some chances, and sometimes, I'll be honest, it has backfired. It's not all rainbows and unicorns. There's times where I do offend some people, and then you just got to play off and apologize or whatever. But for the most part, people, especially the demographic we're going after, is like, I know the niche I'm going after. I'm not going after that suburban, a little more wealthy mom who's going to go shop at Quick Trip because there's a Quick Trip right by her house. I know my area. I really did a study of the 2.5-mile radius from my store to really know the income, the race demographics, everything. And I realized that I do have a little bit more of a younger audience here. I have a little more funner demographic, I guess you could say, that is using, opening their meme app every day to look for something funny and posting those kind of things. And we've got a lot of high schools and middle schools around here, and getting that little cult following, and those, you get those people, you get the young people to support you, and those are the ones that are sharing stuff on social media. They're the ones that are influencers, in a school of 2,000 kids. It just, they begin to push your brand for you. And so that was kind of our approach to the whole thing, was, hey, I'm going to take some chances. I'm going to do some crazy, crazy, crazy things. But I believe it'll help us stick out, because we don't have a unlimited marketing budget to go to television and make professional videos and do all this. So this year, I'm not doing any marketing. Everything that I'm doing for 2019, my goal is to be strictly free, viral, social media based marketing. And I'm going to try that out instead of traditional newspapers and local magazines and stuff like that. And so that's why we did the big Valentine's Day video, and it's things like that. So I'm just playing around with it and trying to see, what actually works, what gets people in the doors, what doesn't, that kind of deal. So.
Well, and it's really awesome to see how much you care about your community. I saw, I noticed on your website you have order forms that students or groups or whatever can use to order or to sell ho-ho cakes, and then you will fulfill it and they'll do it. And I loved the tagline. It's not just your boring run-of-the-mill cookies, popcorn, and wrapping paper that you normally sell, because God only knows I got a ton of that in my house. So I know how I would love to try one of these ho-ho cakes someday. And I think it's a really awesome thing that you do within your community. But I'm going to take us away for a second and go back a couple years. You called me. And out of the blue, I was, Jeff and I and the team at NACS were trying to sort ourselves through a hurricane in 2017. Some hurricanes were hitting down south in Texas, Hurricane Harvey, and we were scrambling, trying to figure out, what are we doing? What's happening? How can we help our retailers down there? How can we help our retailers around the country as gas issues are starting to possibly happen?
Yeah, with demand.
And I get this phone
supply,
call.
I'm sorry.
And I'll skip forward about 5 minutes. I come out in the hallway and Jeff's walking by and I'm in tears. He goes, "Uh-oh, why are you crying?" And I'm like, the nicest person just called me with the biggest heart. And it was you. And you called and you wanted to donate 30,000 bottles of water to people in the Hurricane Harvey affected zone, which is not near you. It's thousands of miles from you. And I was so touched by that. You said, "I have this extra water and I want to donate it to the people who need it." And you were that was amazing. That was so big of you. And I just wanted to thank you for that.
Oh, no problem. Well, and we have ties. My brother is in Texas, and they went to school in Florida. So we had ties to an extent down there, even though they're in Dallas, and we just love that area. And so, it's just one of those things where it's our own private label bottled water, and we had an extra semi, and it was like, hey, you know what? Let's send it, and you never know. It could help somebody. And then when I saw that you guys were doing it, I was like, well, it's a win-win for everybody. Let's get it out there, and hopefully it went to good work or good use.
It did, so. And you got us started because we had just started talking. NACS just started talking with the American Red Cross at that time, and how can we work better together, and how can we help? And because of that, they were like, wow, you have influence. You can talk to your retailers. You can really help make a huge difference. And here we are, fast forward a couple years later, and we're working with the Red Cross all the time. And you had a very large part of that. So you know that.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it. I'm just glad that we were able to help, and that it did go to good use. And then the Red Cross is a great organization as well. So it's always good to see, those partnerships, because essentially that's what we got to do. Whether I'm in Wisconsin or you're there in Texas, and we're all over the place. Essentially, we're here to make money, but we're here to take care of our communities. And that's what I think the neighborhood gas station should be. That's kind of the direction I think NACS has really changed people's perception of convenience stores. They're not nasty bathrooms and poor lighting and stale Twinkies. We're actually we offer a great service to our communities. And especially some of us that are 24 hours and stuff like that. We serve a purpose, and it's a great organization, and partnering with another great nonprofit organization. So.
Well, thank you. And the whole point is when we talk, C-Store doesn't stand for just convenience store. It stands for community store. And we have stores across the country, one-store operators in communities, larger companies within communities, all playing in that bigger, larger community as well on the national level. So thank you. Lou, is there a website or Facebook we want to give a shout out where they can find Anthony, where they can find out about Lou Perrine and maybe see that picture of you in the Valentine's Day outfit?
Absolutely. They can go louperrine.com, LOUPERRINE.com, or we are on every social media outlet there is. So just look up Lou Perrine's and Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you name it. And we got a lot of fun stuff coming up. So there's going to be a huge thing I'm working on that I think will go real viral that I'll be letting NACS know come early summer. So it'll be fun.
Looking forward to it. Happy 65th birthday and store number 2 in October in advance. And thank you, Anthony.
And
thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
And thank you for listening to Convenience Matters.
Convenience Matters is brought to you by NACS and produced in partnership with Human Factor. For more information, visit convenience.org.